Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to the post-election edition of Civil Engineering Today. I'm Reed Brockman, and it is November of 2016, and we're going to talk infrastructure.
November 9th. I'm Anna Christina Fregoso, and we're brought to you by the Boston Society of Civil Engineers. As we said, it's post-election, and this is giving us a chance to go ahead and take a look at President-elect Trump's specific ideas and hopes for our infrastructure, since we will have to be working in that for the next given number of years. So we decided to take a look, and we're going to go over the points one by one, and some of them are pretty hopeful. So we're going to go ahead and read them. Do you want to start with the first point he's got on his?
Absolutely. So we're really going to do this point by point. We're going to transform America's crumbling infrastructure into a golden opportunity for accelerated economic growth and more rapid productivity gains with a deficit-neutral plan targeting substantial new infrastructure investments.
Well, we love that, but we don't really, as civil engineers, we don't really deal too much with budgeting. So I think I'll go ahead and move to the next point. I'll read the next point. Do you want to read it? Yeah. Okay, so he wants to pursue a policy that supports investments in transportation, yay, clean water, yay, modern and reliable electricity grid, WA, telecommunications, security infrastructure, other pressing domestic infrastructure needs. We're definitely in line with that. It's part of our American Society of Civil Engineers. It's part of our government protocol is to bring attention to these things. So this sounds good to me.
Yeah, and what it really needs, it needs just a vision. It needs a real good plan. I mean, we can't just put projects out there and just randomly create new projects. Just need some deep thought and everything, but we'll see what he rolls out in the next couple of weeks. And on top of that, we'll maybe be a little proactive with everybody we know who is invested in the infrastructure with their lives.
I think so, but I don't know if we have a lot of regular viewers. I know we have a few, and we have done shows on planning, so keep in mind though, I mean, it's great to say this, but when you're talking about infrastructure and planning, the planning part of it can take 30 years sometimes. It's not easy. It takes a lot of willpower and voices and materials and schedules, and it's not easy to do things quickly. In fact, it's not a good idea. I think you can look at other countries, what they do things a little bit, skip steps and.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to work.
No, oftentimes very, very bad results. So it takes a while. Planning is a good thing and having that vision, but it takes a while to get to that final point. But definitely needing the vision, having a goal is
he's
great.
Saying refocus government spending on American infrastructure. That's good.
I like that. I would make us like a future city. I mean, I would build our cities to allow for flying cars in the next 100 years. Because somebody's got to figure out all those.
But a future city, no matter what you do, it's got to work.
That's right.
That's right. They got to explain it.
That's right.
So. I mean, but really, that's what we need. We do need some vision, and the kids in the contest, they come up with incredible vision. They're things that are outside the box and not just more of the same stuff. We just
no. I'm constantly
we're just going to fill up. We're just going to fill up our planet with stuff. If we just keep on making stuff with no vision.
No, there's many times where you are shocked because they don't have boundaries. So that the things they come up with, and some of them, the world is beautiful that they built, but they're not always aware of other obstructions that can happen, like the robot police drone squads. Not really. There's almost no crime in the city.
There's no crime in the city because we put things into our bloodstream that whenever we think a bad thought, the police come right after us.
No, that's not going to work. Nice idea, though, but I think you're going to have trouble with that one. This next one, provide maximum flexibility to the states.
I like that.
I like that too, but I think that's interesting to me because this is always something that I question, having worked in other areas of the country. What I find is that there's a lot of states that are constantly butting heads and taking up a lot of time in courts for access to resources, materials, water rights. Oh my God, the amount of time people spend in courts in whole states. These are like the state of Texas versus the state of Colorado, or the state of Missouri versus the state of Nevada. I mean, it is not like I think this one's interesting. I don't really know what they mean by
things
this.
that go interstate and things that affect nationwide, like, airports have to work with each other and
Well, and like we said, the Mississippi
Things are
runs from
networked.
north to south pretty much. It's not going in one state, and that needs to be it needs to have someone that's taking care of it.
right.
all the
So
way
maybe
down.
state flexibility with a focus on things being networked, because you gotta work together too. Everything needs. It's like it comes back to everything needs a real plan.
I
You
like
can't
that
just do
statement,
things.
and I
like
find
though.
it weird. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's always better to try and do things on a local level. Fix your local area first if you can. So it sounds good, but that's interesting to me.
All right, this one your turn?
No, go
Okay.
ahead.
Create thousands of new jobs in construction, steel manufacturing, and other sectors to build the transportation, water, telecommunications, and energy infrastructure needed to enable new economic development in the U.S., all of which will generate new tax revenues.
We've been saying this for
Yeah,
years. We're totally.
This is our life goal.
Yeah, we've been saying
So
this for
thank
years.
you. Thank you for. And
Although actually, going into the next one, and he mentions it, the one you just talked about,
Right.
steel manufacturing. And again, we have American-made
steel's getting mentioned
steel.
a lot in here. Right.
Yeah, it's the backbone of America's infrastructure. I don't know. I think you can't get rid of steel, but I think
But we
there's
got
a
a
lot.
lot of infrastructure rebuilding in the steel world that needs to be done in the first place. And at the same time, we need research. We really need research. We gotta
I do.
find other. I mean, there's
Other materials.
Other
and
materials.
This is what
and
we were
eventually-
talking about before. I was thinking this is an opportunity for a lot of young entrepreneurs, especially, to go ahead and develop whatever materials they're working on, material scientists, material engineers, and try to find a small scale project in your town or community where it can be used and start getting the papers. Because I think where you come into trouble if you want to try, you can't replace steel. You can't.
No, right,
because
right. Our codes
it's in
are written
every
around steel
code.
and concrete.
Yes. Steel as a material is mathematically, it works for us. I mean, we can prove the physics of the design.
We know it's long term.
Right, we can prove the
durability.
longevity of the design. We need a material with history. Otherwise, we can't design confidently that we're obeying all the laws of physics and not, as we said earlier, skipping steps and a bridge ends up killing 100 people. So, I mean, you can't get rid of steel, but I think this is also this is a good time and opportunity for those young entrepreneurs. And
Right.
it was like you were saying earlier about the future city, the things they come up with, and they've done the same thing with just building materials. When they do their own research, like you said.
The kids most of the time. I mean, sometimes the kids just wing things out of their head, but a lot of times they made. I've seen villages of mushrooms, and then
Oh, yes,
you
I
try to
remember
find
that
what
one.
you find what the resource is, and you find that there's actually been buildings made out of a type of organic material that it turns almost like like coral does. It turns into a rock.
Yeah.
It turns into a strong structural material, and you can farm the structural material and make things.
I think
Spiderweb
definitely,
technology.
yeah.
And,
The spiderweb technology was also very interesting.
right.
Definitely.
These are made. Everybody looks at them as off the wall, cutting edge things, and only appearing in science fairs and future city projects. But it shouldn't be. We need vision at the same time that we turn out the same old.
I agree. I
Things.
think
We need a
it would be
mix.
interesting.
Okay. And the next thing we said, did we say this? Put American steel made by American
Yeah, we
workers.
did that.
We got that one. Okay. Leverage new revenues and work with financing authorities, public-private partnerships, and other prudent funding opportunities.
Well, I
This
think-
actually, it's been happening.
Yeah, again, this
regularly.
is kind of like out of our forte. It's more economics, people, and
This one kind of gets
project
into our
manager.
forte a
We
little
want
bit,
it.
but-
We understand that this is a mechanism, I think, that we need to see. I've worked on several public-private partnerships.
yeah, me too.
And, aside from being kind of stressful, because you got to move fast, it's a lot of work fast, they're very beneficial, I think, I like them. I didn't have any problem with them. It's interesting.
Right. I mean, there is something to say about, there isn't just two different worlds. There's this business world out there that they make their things only for their own business. And then there's a world that makes all the infrastructure.
Right.
And I've got that not just there. I mean, in the educational world, I've got real issues with the private world not mixing with the educational world, that the
Yes.
educational world doesn't even really know what's going on in the working community.
I agree.
There does need to be more mixing. And it's
I think also it's just, this is has been an era of, taxpayers really tired of seeing their taxes go in, getting worse and worse. Things are getting more and more expensive. So if you want to repair and change all that infrastructure, like we mentioned earlier, but you don't want to burden the taxpayer as much as you can, I think there's nothing wrong with looking at these public-private partnerships, because it's a little both.
right. I mean, it just has to be done.
You just need a concessionaire.
In control, where you know that they're acting in the best interest of the community and not in the best interest of someone making a lot of profit.
Yeah.
You gotta watch that somewhat.
That's careful.
There we go. All right, and so public-private partnership. Okay, want the next one? I think we're down to
sure.
harness the.
Okay, so harness market forces to help attract new private infrastructure investments through a deficit-neutral system of infrastructure tax credits. See, I think this is getting a little bit out of our field again. It sounds good. I don't really know what it entails. I think I'd need to do more personal research before I have any opinion on this.
Right. Well, no, I think the key word
Deficit
in here
neutral
is
sounds good.
The word deficit neutral sounds good. We don't want more deficit. We definitely don't want that.
No, nobody does.
And
You can go ahead with the next
so
one.
it would be someone getting a tax break in exchange for making the investment in infrastructure is what I'm getting
Well, I
at.
think if I'm thinking specifically of the Port of Miami Tunnel, which I worked on for a long time, and that was praised even by President Obama. But what happened there is they went to a third-party concessionaire. So the third-party concessionaire is making money, tolls, so forth, based on the usage and especially the freight traffic coming out of that port and using the tunnel. But they also are getting some money to help them do the maintenance by the taxpayer, but very little. So I think everybody's benefiting. So again, I don't know if that's the public-private partnerships. That's what I think of. That's what comes to mind to me. You get a third party that takes on the burden of maintenance and care,
Right.
but they're also making money as well.
Yeah,
So-
no. I don't want to take away and say no makes no money.
Right.
Just not.
It's hard to think, make money on a road, but I can guarantee you, if you had to take your goods to the market on a donkey, you would do whatever you can to make sure that we had roads, because that's how it is in some parts of the world, Okay, so implement a bold, visionary plan. Well, we like that. For a cost-effective system of roads, bridges, tunnels, airports, railroads, ports and waterways, pipelines, proud tradition of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who championed the interstate highway system. I'm not sure.
The interstate highway system was visionary.
It was.
It was very visionary, but we didn't have an interstate highway system before that. It was roads that you stopped all over the place.
It was roads you had to take your horse and buggy.
It was the donkey road you're talking about.
You make your own road. You make your own road. I'm not sure what he means by this, though, because, you can kind of improve what's there, or you need to increase capacity, or...
Is he talking about thinking the rest of it through and connecting everything with a network?
I'm not sure. Obviously, that's kind of
Roads,
coming into
bridges,
play
tunnels.
now. There's so many cars that are going into the self-driving car, so...
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one improvement that's
maybe
going to
that's
be
right.
neat. But again,
That's-
that's existing. I'm not sure what he means.
Well, no, maybe that's the network. If he's really being visionary here, maybe he is talking a network of something.
ITS,
He's
Intelligent Transportation
Because he doesn't,
System.
right, he doesn't straight out say cars.
I think I'm just thrown by Dwight D.
Yeah, it throws
Eisenhower,
me
but
back to, like,
I think
we have an interstate highway system.
you're right. It's to point out the visionary that it takes to have the master plan. But again, that's still going and changing even today, widening, and so
I keep
it takes
on
a
feeling-
long time from a vision to an actual final day of finished news.
All right, link increases in spending to reforms that streamline permitting and approvals, improve the project delivery system, and cut wasteful spending on boondoggles.
Well, you can't have roads to nowhere, and I think technology is kind of helping a lot with that. So The next one, employ incentive-based contracting to ensure projects are on time and budget. Well, there are already a lot of incentive-based projects because I have known a few foremen and what their, if they made a schedule on time, they get some nice bonuses, which I don't get. The engineer, we don't get that.
I know, they actually have to do,
But I'll tell you,
I think the big thing is we got to have things like, the word quality has always got to figure high.
It's true.
Fast isn't the big thing, cheap isn't the big thing.
No, but
anybody can have something cheap and fast.
And the supers that I remember that really got the big bonuses, there was always the same thing about them. People lived in fear of having them come by and say, "Where are you?" I mean, everybody did their job because they somehow managed to strike the perfect blend of fear into being, having to, because when things were not going right, you heard from the super and it was a nightmare. And I thought that was a talent, like I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. I've been on jobs where everybody is just like, oh, just get it done and hide from the super. Nobody wants to know. But they're rewarded well for that. It takes a certain kind of personality. So incentive-based.
But if I was going to jump in back quickly for one, just a quick statement on the streamlining the permitting and approvals. We need good streamlined processes, but we got to make sure that there is an adequate process. It's like you can't have one project destroy something else.
Oh no. I think it's getting better though because technology allows us to collect data so much more data faster. So I think that's kind of coming in anyway. That's kind of where it's going anyway. And that's
but it's all got to be there. If things are done in independent worlds and no one is informing everybody of everything that's happening, we just need real planning.
Planning is hard. It's not really our forte. Again, we just need to worry about the laws of physics. That's our job. Okay, so
I'm trying to talk to these future city kids.
I'm going to skip that one. Okay, so work with Congress to modernize our airports. Yes, and air traffic control systems, long wait times, reform the FAA and the TSA, while also ensuring that American travelers are safe from terrorism or other threats. I'm not even that worried about terrorism as I am about those long lines. Oh my heavens. I'm sorry. If anybody who travels a lot, the waiting at the airport, like I literally will take a whole day. Like I plan a whole day around the flight. Very rarely have I gone in. Sometimes I've gone in and worked till noon and planned an afternoon flight. But most of the time it's like, that's what I'm doing today. I'm going somewhere. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to wait in line. I'm going to do this and do that. But I think what's interesting here is also, I hope he's talking about technology because I believe we are the only country in the world that still uses a radio-based air traffic control system.
Yeah, we definitely can use some stepping up, and that's a good thing.
So I'm all for this, but that's not, we've actually discussed this on our improvement shows where we talked about, improving infrastructure for economic reasons.
Yeah, technology,
and it's not going to be cheap to do that, though.
is advanced so much.
Yeah, that one's a lot of money, though. That'll be interesting to see how they're going to find a way to go ahead and pay for that.
That's what happens when we're like cutting edge.
I like it though. I'm excited. I'm supporting that bullet point right there. Please shave the lines. I'm totally for it.
And better air traffic control systems would be nice too.
Yes, that as well, yeah.
All right, next one. Incorporate new technologies and innovations in our national transportation system, such as state-of-the-art pipelines, advancements in maritime commerce, and the next generation of vehicles. And he didn't say cars.
Oh, but I think that's
a nice thing.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that next generation of vehicles, that brings us back to those intelligent transportation systems, improving the highway systems. I'm thinking this is maybe the avenue people are thinking, which we've been saying for a while. But I think once you have those self-driving cars, or even just car-to-car communication, their cars are almost already able to drive themselves without a driver,
right? Because
they have so many warnings.
And that same kind of technology could come into play in maritime commerce as well, and faster operating ports.
Well, I think you're going to have a system of monitoring, satellite monitoring of exits or local exits, stoplights. Like all those things will have to work together somehow if you're going to have an effective self-driving system. So I think that's what he's talking about. If I have to say the next generation of vehicles, I'm thinking that.
Next one's good.
And also hybrid.
Next one's good.
Because also, we were talking about earlier about highways and traffic.
Yeah, and you're talking about left turns?
Am I talking about what?
Left turns?
Left
No.
turns. My ban left turn campaign, I'm not giving up on it. I still think that we should ban left turns. If there's not a dedicated left turn lane and light available, they should just be banned. But on top of that, my car was just totaled last week, the one I complained about having to sit in traffic all the time. But my car was just totaled last week, and I'm using a rental which has terrible gas mileage, and my other car was a Prius, which I've become very spoiled, and I really hope that next generation vehicle also includes hybrids because
Right, or totally electric or something really innovative that doesn't even
oh my
burn
God,
anything.
I loved that car. I hardly ever had to stop and get gas. This car, I'm stopping every day to get gas, but I only have it for a week, so. All right, what's the
one?
next one? Yeah, let's
We're
go
almost
for
getting
it.
there, and we're almost out of time, so it's
Oh,
working
good.
out good. All right, making clean water a high priority. Develop a long-term water infrastructure plan with the city, state, and federal leaders to upgrade aging water systems. Triple funding for
Ooh,
state
triple funding.
revolving loan fund programs to help states and local governments upgrade critical drinking water and wastewater infrastructure. Love it.
I love it too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with
There
that.
are places, I gotta say, there are places that have done a wonderful job all over
Oh,
the
yeah,
place.
yeah.
But we're
Not
talking
Flint,
about the
Michigan.
places that don't, right? Not Flint, Michigan. Right.
But but even the places that are doing a wonderful job, again, this brings into question the aging infrastructure. We know how many gallons of water are just wasted from loose joints, and they're underground. Nobody knows. So I think if we're going to put in new pipes, it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Lots of new technology. There's no reason, and I'm pretty sure you can already have like flow meters in the inside
pipes
the
themselves.
pipe
Yep.
that can kind of be, if 20 gallons is not going from point A to point B, if you're only getting 15 by the time it reaches point B, you had a problem in that section. So
we're on our last point.
I'm all
almost out of
for
time.
that.
Ready?
Oh, we're almost out of time. Do we have
Yeah.
any
But
announcements?
we got one more point.
Oh, one more point. Link increased investments with positive reforms to infrastructure programs that reduce waste and cut costs. Complete projects faster, at lower cost through significant regulatory reform and ending needless red tape. Well, that one's just go slow.
Just go.
I'm
right,
okay with it, but
just
go
we don't,
slow.
We don't need the total rush. We don't want to do damage.
Right, we were
But-
just talking earlier. There's some countries, sometimes it's not good to go fast. Some things are worth taking your time and savoring, doing well. But this is a big thing they say, the construction guys, is measure twice, cut once.
That's right.
Just
Or
be
the opposite
careful.
thing, I
Just
cut
be
tree board
careful.
3 times, she's
What do
still
you
too
cut? You
short.
cut 3 times?
I cut the board 3 times, she's still too short.
Oh, geez.
Never mind. All right. So anyway,
I know.
we got through it.
I don't think there's anything
I think that
necessarily
we
bad
should
here.
all, right, nothing bad in there, and I think in
trying to
terms
be
of
positive,
infrastructure,
too.
we really are trying to be positive. We really are, and we got lots of things to be positive of, and lots of stuff we're going to talk about in the next few years.
I like a lot of the bullets.
And
I'm okay with it.
okay, and on the positive side, quick plugs. The Future City competition is up and running. Though
Model
we
Bridge.
technically might have gotten to the end of when registration was. If you want to join in. www.futurecity.org or www.engineeryourfuture.org. Model Bridge contest is up and running. We use the classic materials of popsicle sticks and glue gun glue this year. Back to the basics.
Oh God, we're gonna have 400 or 500 pound loads. Those kids are so smart.
They
the way
are
they're
really
building
smart.
those bridges.
And join. That thing you can still go. Competition, everything's at the Transportation Building at 10 Park Plaza, and it'll be happening. You got to go on the website to see the dates because
dates.
we're out of time.
Yeah.
But that's it. Everybody. So go to engineeryourfuture.org if you want to find out about that. Everything we do is free.
And thank you for
Yeah.
joining us on the post-election infrastructure.
Thank you, everybody.